Hey, welcome back. Today we're going to be building off of what we learned in our last class. So if you haven't already watched that one, make sure you go back and watch that one to get the foundation of what we're going to be doing today down. Okay, so starting off, we're going to add 2 more of our basic stances. Remember, there are going to be 5 total. We covered 2 already, and we're going to cover 2 more today. So our first basic stance is attention. So holding the chucks in our right hand, other hand is in that hand by our side, feet together. The next one is going to be our open ready stance. So we're here, we're holding the top of the chucks around our shoulder level as we're doing this. Our arms are not overly extended and our feet are about shoulder width apart. And I call it the open chucks because it's not closed, right? The chucks are open. The next one that we're gonna do is going to be the on the arm. So this is gonna be our third one, and we're just holding our arm up, and the chuck is gonna be resting kind of close to our shoulder, between our elbow and our shoulder. And so not quite all the way over, it can be, sometimes it will be, but we're gonna hold it right about here. And this is gonna be our on the arm position, or our basic stance number 3. Our basic stance number 4 is going to be the around the shoulder. So this position should look familiar from our last class, because this is where most of our catches happen. So we'll frequently start in this position, and it can be on either side, just like this. It's just over the shoulder position, or the around the shoulder position, however you want to call it. So basic stance 1, basic stance 2, basic stance 3, and basic stance 4. Pretty simple, right? Again, 1. Yeah, we'll go from the side. 1, 2, 3. And notice on 3, my other hand is out and in this center position. All right, we're right on that center line. And 4, holding it with both of our hands, just like this. One more time. 1, attention. 2, open, ready. 3, on the shoulder. 4, around the arm. Just like that. So that is the first 4 of our basic stances. Now I want to quickly review what we learned last time. So we learned 3 techniques. We learned our gripping technique, which we'll be doing a little bit later. We learned our upward number 1 strike, going right up that center line and trying to catch it so that this one is horizontal. And then we learned our downward number 1 strike, which is the same thing but opposite. And if you're still hitting yourself, make sure you go back into the other class so that you can practice that motion so you're not going to be striking yourself. If you miss it, whatever, keep on. Okay, so we're going to add a little bit more to this today. First though, I want to cover terminology. So there's a few basic pieces of spinning terminology that will really help you understand and not be as confused, and I'll call out something and you'll be able to understand what it is. Okay, so I'm gonna go over 5 pieces of terminology. The first one is going to be inside, and the second one's outside. I'm gonna put these together because these go together. So when our hands are out in front of us, just like this, right at our shoulder line, anything that's happening in between our hands, this would be inside. Even if I drop this, this is still inside because it's an orientation to the arm that is moving, right? So this is inside. Now, if I do this, see how it's on that outside? That's outside. So that means if I'm holding it with this hand, this is also outside, and this is also the inside, right? So anything in between my hands, inside. If it's on the outside of the arm, then it's outside. It's on the outside of that arm, okay? So just gonna keep that in mind. But it's not, this wouldn't be like outside or anything else. Just think of it that way. And it's always with the reference of the arm that you are using. So the next thing is going to be inward versus outward, right? So this is where things kind of get confusing. Inside, outside, inside, and then outside. Inward is direction based on the spin, right? So this would be an inward spin. This is actually an inward inside spin because I'm here and it's inside. And it's inward because it's coming towards me. And now when I say coming towards me, I'm talking about the top half of the circle. So when I'm doing this, I'm making a circle, right? You can see the circle. And now as it's turning, the top half of the circle is coming inward towards me. All right, so I'm here, inward towards me, inward towards me. So I want you to kind of keep that in mind. Now, if the top half of the circle is going out and away from me, right? You see how that top half, the part that I'm throwing, is going outward and away from me. This is an outward circle, right? So this would be an outward, inside, or an inside outward. You can say either one, just like this. So it's inside the hands, in between the hands, and it is going outwards and away from me. That means this would be I'll go to the side. I want you to think about, what is this? This is an outward, outside circle. Now what if I put it on this hand? What is this? From the side. This is an inside, outward circle. So I will be saying those terms, and I want you to understand what they mean so that you can go. Now, a lot of people the main thing most people get confused is the inward versus the outward. All right, so make sure you really understand that. Most people grasp the inside and the outside pretty easily. And then the last thing is going to be figure eights. Right? So a figure eight is when it goes from an inside to the outside. Right? So I'm doing one circle on the inside and I'm doing one circle on the outside, and it's alternating, boom, boom. Now this is a tight figure eight or a small figure eight. I can also make it bigger by moving at my wrist. Right? So I can go at the tip of the chuck, I can move at my wrist, I can move, not as much at the elbow joint, but I can move the elbow joint, and then I can move at the shoulder joint, right? All of those are figure eights. So it's going from the inside to the outside, to the inside, to the outside, and repeating. And now we also have inward and outward figure eights. So this, go ahead and tell me what you think this is, right? It's clearly a figure eight. You can see that from the front angle. It's an outward figure eight, which means this is a inward figure eight. This is also an inward figure eight, okay? So just keep that in mind. Those terminologies will help you just understand what I'm saying when I tell you to do something and you're like, if you can't quite see it, sometimes chucks move fast, it's a little blurry. If you understand that terminology, it'll make it pretty easy. So now that we understand that terminology, we're going to practice our inward outside circle. And before I do it, I want you to do it based off the terminology that you just understood from me. What is an inward outside circle? All right, now I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna do it. So it's on the outside, and then from the side you can see it's going, let me slow it down, inward. And now when you're doing this, I want you to do a small circle, right? So when I say small circle, it means that the pivot point around the circle, or the center point, is at the tip of the chuck. It's not at the wrist, it's not at the shoulder, and it's not at the elbow, okay? I want it at the tip of the chuck. And when you do this, you're gonna have to slightly angle the chuck outwards so that you don't just hit your arm constantly, right? So it's slightly angled outwards, but I want it mostly pointed forward, right? I don't want this. This is to the front. It should make this little sound. You might be able to hear it in this mic. It should make that sound every time it's passing because the string is popping off of the edge of the chuck whenever you're doing this. So let's do a few more on the side. And what is this? Inward, outside, circle. Keep it going. Inward, outside, circle. You want to make it a little bit harder for yourself, move around, and even pivot while doing it. Right? Sometimes you'll hit yourself as you're doing that, but try to keep it orientated towards the front. Right? So I can also change. This isn't what we're doing. It's just I want you to keep doing what you're doing, but I want you to watch. I can actually keep the chuck at the same point and move around it. This is more challenging, but I want you to, if you decide to move around, to keep it pointed forward with orientation to you. Ideally, the chuck is actually slightly hitting right on that center line. So even though I'm slightly pointed this way, I'm actually making it so that the tip of the chuck right in the center is going right up my center line. This side obviously is outside of my shoulder line, but this one is going right up that center line. All right, so now let's go ahead and let's do the same thing on our other side. So we're going to do an inward outside circle. Right. Again, I want the tip of the chuck to be going right up that center line. As it goes off, it has to go off to the side so I don't hit my forearm. Sometimes I'll hit my forearm anyways, but it's okay. And then when it's coming up boom, I want it right on that center line. And it's gonna be a little bit challenging, right? Especially in this hand. For me, all right, see, no, just hit myself, it's all right. After you do a whole bunch of them, your forearms will start getting kind of tired. Make sure you're still holding it in the black too. Don't go up here. It's a little bit easier, right? It's less energy on the forearm, but I want you to hold it down here at the end, holding it in the black. Try to work to see where your center line is and make sure that that circle is, boom, the edge of it is hitting on that center line each time you go up. Let's do a few more of these. Other hand, right towards your center. And if it's easy for you, practice moving around. This one's not as easy for me on the left. Definitely harder on my left side. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we're going to do upward strike number 2. So upward strike number 2 is very similar to upward strike number 1. What is upward strike number 1 again? Got it. So upward strike number 2 is going to be upward strike number 1, except for we're going to add an outside inward circle. Now we're going to do that as soon as the chuck that I'm holding, the tip of the chuck, is right at my solar plex level, right? So center of my chest, solar plex level. That's when I'm raising that up and doing that circle. And notice I'm not rotating at my wrist. I'm rotating at the center. I'm doing this with my arm extended, and then I want that second part right here. See, it passes once and then comes up. That second part, that's where I'm striking right up the center line, and that's why I was saying to focus and try to see the tip on the inside going up that center line, right here, just like this. When we catch it, I'm gonna catch it here. This one is horizontal to the ground, and we're doing this. So let's go ahead and let's practice this. Again, this is our upward strike number 2. When we get to that center point, right, arms right at the solar plexus, the tip of the chuck's at the solar plexus, that's when we're doing that upward strike, or the outside circle. Notice I'm holding the tip still as I do that circle, and I come up. Boom, do the circle and come up. If you feel more comfortable, go a little faster. If you're not quite comfortable with it, got that nice slow pace. Make sure you're catching it down in the black, and this one is still horizontal to the ground. And after we do this, what stance are we in? What basic stance is this? Basic stance number 4. All right, keep going. Again, try to make it towards the center line. I don't want it to be here. See how the chuck is spinning, but it's not hitting my center line. My center line's right there. So I need to hold my chuck here instead of holding it out here. So keep that in mind. I want that after that circle, it gets raised right up through that center line each time. Keep this going. And too easy. Walk forward, backward. You can pivot around. Up to you. Right now I just want you getting this down, but if it's too easy, make it a little bit harder for yourself. If it's too hard, slow down. Do not expect you to be going at the pace that I'm going, especially if you don't have a lot of experience with the nunchucks yet, right? I've been doing it for years, so sometimes I forget that it does take a while to figure this stuff out. But if you have been playing with them for a while, because you watched a bunch of Bruce Lee movies when you were a kid, well, Maybe you can go a little bit faster because you have some more experience, and that's fine too. And that's why I want you to add the little footwork pieces or moving around, just to add some difficulty to if you're starting to get bored because it's too easy. Now we're going to do a outward outside circle, or an outside outward circle, however you want to say it. Like this. Remember, it's going outward and away from me, but it's on the outside of my arm that's holding it. Now same thing, right? When I'm doing this, I want the center portion of the chuck to be going right through my center line. The outer portion of the chuck is out here, or the circle, but that center portion should be going right through that center line. So practice this, other hand up. It's an outward outside circle. After you do so many, your arms get tired and then you hit yourself. It's okay. Keep it going. And if you want to, you can practice moving around. Okay, now let's go ahead and go to the other side. Same thing, outward, outside circle. Focusing on having the inner portion of that circle right on that center line. If you have a target, aim at something. You're probably watching a video, right? This is a video. You're probably watching me, so try to have it and see it go through my head, right? Hit me with the inside portion of that circle. And look at where it's at and hit me with it. It's fine. I won't get mad at you if you hit me. Promise. Get a few more. Oh, if you hit yourself, it's fine. It happens. Especially when your forearms start to get tired. And my forearms are killing me this week. Mostly from jiu-jitsu. Keep it going. All right, so now we're going to do downward strike number 2. Just like upward strike number 1 was an upward strike number 2 was upward strike number 1 with an outside circle. Well, downward strike number 2 is downward strike number 1 with an outside circle. So it's gonna look like this. And I'm gonna go here and let it fall right into my hand. And the same thing as before, make sure you are still doing that windshield wiper motion at the end of this. Right. Notice my palm is pointed backwards as I'm finishing that. That way you don't hit yourself in the head, because if you decide that you want to come down and have your palm pointed downwards and not pointed backwards, then that happens. But that's why we're using these chucks, right? They don't hurt that bad. Don't hit yourself too hard. All right, downward strike number 2. Try to see that after the circle and it's coming down, I want to see that going through the center line or through my target. I am your target most likely. Don't hit your TV or whatever you're watching this on. Don't do that. But I do want you to be visualizing striking through me. Now, what if I move to here? You still got to strike through me. Maybe you have a really big TV or a projector or something, and I moved a big distance and you had to change. If you're watching it through a phone, you probably didn't have much change at all, though. Try to still catch it in that black. Try to still catch it so that this is horizontal. To make sure that that circle is happening when you're pointing this at the solar plexus. So right at the center, right? Just like this. So we're not doing it way up here. I'm not doing it down here. I'm going right at that center. And now what if we mess up? Oh no. Do it again. When you're doing the strike, other hand goes to the center line, and then it goes to the catching position. Center line, then catching position. Keep it going. missed it. Go again. So this is one that you really do want to get pretty good at, because when you get into the upper belt levels, there's things called percentage tricks, which is where you have 100 seconds and you have to hit a certain number of these within that 100 seconds, but every miss counts against you, okay? So you gotta keep that in mind. You want to ideally be able to do 100 of these in 100 seconds, but each level has kind of a different percentage that you have to be able to hit. And again, every time you make a mistake, that not only doesn't count, it actually counts against you. So be aware of that. This is one that you do want to practice and get pretty consistent at. Of course, if you're just now learning this, you're probably missing it quite a few times. You're probably hitting your thumb, boom, or bouncing off of something. Don't worry about it too much right now, but I just wanted to be aware that this is one that you should practice and try to get pretty consistent at. Let's give it a few more. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do a combination. It's going to be upward one, upward one, upward two, upward two. Pretty simple. So we're going to go, that's a downward, not that. We're going to go up one, up one, up two, up two, up one, up one, up two, up two. So we're just practicing going between those two. Ready? Let's get started. Up one, go through the center line. Up one, through the center line. Up two, that circle goes through the center line. One and one, two and two. One, two, two. One, two, two. Keep this going. Make sure that you're doing that circle whenever you're holding it at that solar plexus level. Keep it going. Go as fast as you can without constantly making mistakes. So if you've got it down, speed it up. If you don't quite have it down, go at the pace that you need to. Oh, I messed up. Maybe I'm going too fast. Maybe I need to go faster. One, two, two. One, two, two. One, two, two. I wanted to do a two, but I did a one. All right, slow down, take a breath. We're gonna do the same thing, but with our twos. Or not our twos, our downwards. So downward one, downward one, downward two, downward two, down one, down two, down two. All right, ready? And begin. A nice slow pace at first. Let's get it down. Get it down. It's a downward strike. All right, you got it. Two and two. One, two, two. One, two, two. One and two and two. see those strikes going down that center line. Go through that center line each time. Try to catch it in that black each time. Try to catch it horizontally each time. 1, 1, 2, 2. 1, 1, 2, 2. 1, 2, 2. Keep it going. Speed it up some. How fast can you go without throwing the chucks at me? Keep it going, keep it going. Ooh, I messed that one up. All right, slow it down again. 1, 1, 2, 2. Sometimes I just have to say it so that I don't get confused on what I'm doing. 1, 1, 2, 2, 1, 1, 2, 2, 1, 1, 2, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 2. All right, let's go ahead. Slow that down. Take a breath. What are we gonna do now? We're gonna do gripping, of course. So I'm gonna set a timer, and we're gonna do this for 30 seconds. We're gonna do 3 sets, 30 seconds. What's our goal to beat? Remember when I do this, that means I want you to say it, whatever it is. 40. Our goal to beat is 40. Hands are still kind of cold, so we'll see if we can do it. I'm not gonna count for my first one. I'll probably count for my second one, but on my third. I want you to count for all of yours, right? So count them out loud. 1, 2, 3. Try to beat 40. Okay, ready? Set, begin. Keep it going. Remember, we're dropping it down, pushing it out, raising it up, and bringing it in. Nice circular motion. One right on top of the other. Try to catch it in the black every time. Try not to hit yourself with it. Try not to drop it. Sometimes I do that, especially when I try to go fast. So I'm just kind of chilling like this. And this is a nice kind of relaxing speed for me currently. I'm not pushing my pace, I'm just kind of going. Time. If I do that, I'm usually not gonna drop it, but when I really start trying to focus on getting it for speed, I drop it. I do. I don't know, maybe I get nervous or something, but I drop it. Okay, so we're gonna do this again. I'm gonna count on this one, so I'm gonna push the speed a little bit so I'm more likely to actually make a mistake. I'm gonna try to get around 60 if I can, and you're gonna try to get around 60 as well, right? At least over 40. That's your goal, is over 40. If you can't get there yet, it's okay. We still have a lot of time. This is only class number 2. There's gonna be a lot more classes before you've learned everything to be able to test for your yellow belt, okay? Ready, set, begin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 58, 59, 60, 61. All right, I got 61 before the time came. Cool, I beat it. That's what I need to go. So 60 is the highest that you need to go for any of the belt levels, in case you're wondering why that's what I chose. That's the reason. All right, we have one more set. I'm not gonna count for mine this time. You're still counting for yours. Remember which one's your highest. Ready? Let's go shake it off a little bit first. And begin. Keep it going. Get that nice flow going if you can. Push the bass. This is our last one for this class. So try to keep it going nice and fast. Try to keep the tension on the string the whole time. Ooh, I almost dropped that one. You saw that? No, you didn't. You're focusing on yourself. Great job. Keep it going, keep it going. Time. Great. Nice job. So, what I want you to do is I want you to post down in the comments, what'd you get this time? Was it better than last time? Did you even post last time? You should have posted last time. But go ahead and comment down below and let me know how many you got best out of those 3. Okay? Now, I'm just going to quickly recap what we went over. So in class number 2, we went over our 4 basic stances, 4 out of the 5. The first one is our attention stance. And then we went to our open ready stance. On the arm and around the shoulder was our number 4. After that, we just reviewed our upward 1 strikes, then our downward number 1 strikes. From there, we learned some terminology. We learned the difference between the inside and the outside. We also learned the difference between an inward and an outward circle. And then we learned what a figure 8 was. This is an outward figure 8, and then there's an inward figure 8 as well. After that, we practiced our upward, or not upward, or inward outside circle, which leads to our upward strike number 2. And then we did an outside outward circle, which leads to our downward strike number 2. We would practice that one afterwards. Then we did a combination, which was our up 1, up 1, up 2, up 2. And that was the first combination. Then we went down 1, down 1, down 2, down 2. After we did those combinations, we went and practiced 3 sets of 30 seconds of our gripping, trying to beat that 40-second marker. Hopefully you enjoyed today's class. I know you enjoyed today's class. That's why you showed back up today from last class, and I will see you in the next class. Let me know down below, other than what your score was for your gripping. Let me know what you liked about the class, what you didn't like about the class, what you would like to see more of, and what you would like to see less of in the future. Other than that, have a great day.